Hi there, I'm Spenta. I'm a nature fan. I'm a gardener, landscape artist, and I enjoy nature to its fullest. I love to grow plants all year round, and my goal is to be a self-sufficient gardener and to grow perennial gardens, and that is what I'm doing. I also plant lots of plants in containers. If you're new to my channel, please take a moment and check out my content. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Your subscriptions, likes, comments, shares, and donations are greatly appreciated, and I thank you for visiting me today. Let's talk about plants in general and what I love most about plants. Plants are love and their life, and I enjoy planting different varieties of different things. Some things that I like to plant are herbs because I believe in herbal medicine. So I plant a lot of herbs. Therefore, I have herbs all year round. I have a culinary herbal garden that's an actual 12 o'clock garden that grows all year round. Grows different varieties such as rosemary, lavender, mint, sage, oregano, thyme. I have basil, but basil and dill, those are usually my annuals. An annual is something you plant in and it just lasts for that season, whereas a perennial is something that comes back. The term annual and perennial will change depending on what USDA zone you live in or what zone and climate you're in. A lot of plants that are tropical are best to be kept indoors because I live in USDA zone 7 and I get to negative 18 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I'm not from here, I'm Persian, so my plants are usually tropical plants that I'm used to. Now, can I grow an orange tree here or have my citrus life? Definitely not. They will not grow unless we place them in a nursery. A lot of my fans asked about gardening, and a lot of my clients ask, where do I plant what, when should I plant, and if I could have plants that are perennials in pots, if I could have perennials or annuals in pots, even an evergreen. Yes, the answer is yes to all of that. You could plant all of those in pots. Here is such an example that I have. I have a Coleus plant right here, and afterwards I'm going to take this Coleus plant. This is a Coleus plant. It also has nasturtium. They are both annuals. Coleus is beautiful. It will produce beautiful seeds. I planted this from a bulb. You can plant Coleus from seeds or bulbs. If you want to plant from a bulb, which is what I did, and I highly recommend it, you can allow it to grow in a pot if you're living in an apartment or a space where you don't have lots of space for plants, but you want to have some plants that grow. If you're into Coleus or something that's edible like nasturtium, mint, even my dianthus, the flowers are edible. And so if you're into bok choy, lavender, if you're into that, you could also plant those in containers. They have to have good soil and they have to have proper etiquette lighting, because if they don't have adequate lighting, it is not going to produce either fruit or the type of color that you want the plant to produce. So when you're planting containers, planting items in containers, whether they're from seed or bulb or rhizomes, you need to take in consideration what that type of plant requires. For example, everything I have here in front of me is needing a soil that drains fast. It doesn't like to sit in soggy soil, but it enjoys wet, moist area. You just stick your hand in the soil and you can tell if you put your hand in about 5 centimeters in, if the soil up top feels dry, that's when you add water to your pots. Lots of time in heated areas, these plants right here, I'm growing them in pots, but they're growing in my outdoor area, such as this tomato right here. So this has a lot of tomatoes on it. This is a sun cherry tomato. And this here is a regular cherry tomato that I have, one that is actually changing color and is giving me a red tomato. This is not the first red tomato that I have. So there are lots of tomatoes that are just produced already on this small tomato plant that is sitting here in a pot. You can have plants, you can have produce, you can have beauty, you can have color, flowers, or herbs, or other produce that grow, and you could plant all of them in pots. Don't feel shy that you can't plant them in pots. Just know what type of climate they require. A lot of indoor plants, there's not really indoor plants, but a lot of times we keep our plants indoors. That is what I'm referring to. A lot of times we have to consider if they're plants that feed from the bottom or plants that are feeding from the top. So that's water intake. For example, I know that cyclamen and guzmania, those are varieties that I grow indoors, they would not last outdoors. They would not last in my climate, and lots of times they could become bug infested with not the right type of insect that you're looking for, not a pollinator insect, so call it. So you don't want to take indoor plants that are your indoor plants, tropical plants that you keep inside. You don't want to take them outside and inside, out and in. What you want to do is you want to designate a type of climate for your plants. Climate is so important. So to have a tropical plant, you want to have a tropical area indoors, somewhere between 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you want to have a nursery, then your nursery needs to stay between around 72 degrees Fahrenheit and humid. It needs to stay humid. So keep that in mind when you're growing plants on a patio. These can all be patio plants. And when you have a cooler climate, if you live in a cooler climate, what you could do is you could pull these indoors and let them go into dormant mode. What I will do is, for the Coleus, I will allow the Coleus to grow large and it will flower. I will take the seeds and save them. Later, when the leaves die back, what I will do is I'll take this Coleus bulb out of the ground and I will save it. I will put it in dry moss. You can put it in Texas moss, that's a dry moss. Let it sit there for about 2 to 3 months and then retrieve my Coleus, take it and replant it. It will regrow for you. So Coleus is that way. Something like nasturtium, you need to save the seeds. Same as tomatoes here. So the tomato plant and this pepper plant that's right here, with my basil, I have to save the seeds for these. However, what I plan on doing this year is I'm actually going to allow one tomato to continually grow until it becomes the fall season. Near the fall season, the weathers will drop near September for my zone. Tomatoes will not do so well there. This tomato plant will stop growing in its height, and so will this tomato. What I will do is I'll make sure they become dormant. What that means is they will focus mostly on producing leaves, keeping the leaves green, and sending energy into the root system so that it could last through the cold winter, being indoors. So yes, I plan on taking this indoors with all that's planted in here, the basil, the pepper, and one of my goals is to cultivate the spiciest pepper that's out there. So this here is a very spicy variety, and I plan on taking this whole item in. This is companion planting. Tomatoes, basil, and peppers are great companion plants together. And now to herbs. And of course flowers. You will be able to grow this outdoors if you live in a climate that is warm all year round. However, I don't have that luxury, so what I do is I just make sure that they stay clean. I fertilize all my plants. I put slow release fertilizer in here. You could use Osmocote if you'd like, or you could use slow release fertilizer. If you're looking for more green, use a 10-10-10 fertilizer. You could also use 20-10-20 or 20-20-20. Just depends if you want fruit, if you want produce, or if you want green. If you're looking for some more green produce like your mint. Here, growing mint, which is edible. I am able to eat a fresh daily salad every day just because I grow my own herbs and my own produce. I also grow bok choy. Up here is growing a bok choy nasturtium. They can all be added to salads. So can dianthus, chards, kale, lettuce, spinach, which is some other items that I grow. I love growing herbs, vegetables, plants in general. Here is what I do when I am planting for others. So if I have a client that says I want a particular type of cherry tomato or I want a particular type of pepper, what I do is I plant the seeds right here inside a regular pot, and then I will transfer the little spots right here. I will take them and I will transfer them into another pot, and you can have two tomatoes growing together, make it much stronger, and then I could provide it for my client. Also, it's best to start growing your plants if you live in a cooler area. It's best to start growing them 6 to 12 weeks before your first frost. It depends on the plant once again. Chard, kale can handle the cold much better. However, these plants like my tomatoes and my peppers, the Coleus, they will not handle the cold weather. Behind me, I'm sitting next to hostas. It's super hardy, it likes the shade, and this particular variety of hosta can handle up to 6 hours of sun. It will make it and it will regrow for me. So all my gardens, fronts, back gardens, gardens all over, even in my nursery, they're all staying green throughout the year. That doesn't mean they're an evergreen. That doesn't mean they're an annual or perennial. It means that I am genetically attempting to make them last longer. Your mint, your sage, your lavender, your rosemary, they will come back each year. Oregano, they will do great for you. So will thyme. Now, I have varieties of herbs, vegetables, and I have varieties of pepper seeds. I also have seeds from back home. So I sell my seeds and I sell my produce, whether it's a bouquet of herbs or selling my tomatoes. What you want to do is you want to meet someone like myself if you're trying to grow your own produce or your own plants. A cultivator can tell you what's best in your area. The next also is a nursery, your local nursery. I highly recommend you going to a local nursery if you are trying to plant something in your area. They can also tell you, give you tips on what will grow best in your zone. Once again, I'm Spenta, and this is USDA Zone 7. If you're just now coming in, please make sure to check out my content, my other content on gardening, my share, and make sure to hit the subscribe button. Your subscriptions, comments, and likes, shares, and donations are greatly appreciated. In order to grow the best plants, you need soil that's good. I have my own compost, so I have my own soil. You must make sure your compost is organic. I keep my compost organic. And I also make sure to add mulch on top of my soil. This will keep it a little bit more moist and allow it to keep a little bit more hydration in the plant itself. So adequate sun, adequate watering, and adequate temperature is what all your plants need. Tomatoes will not start giving tomatoes unless the soil temperature is above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So before growing the plant you like to grow, it's important to know if that plant will actually grow in your climate, in your zone, or will it grow at all where you're staying. So keep in mind that factor. And also, are you going to plant indoors? If you want indoor container plants or other items, make sure you know if it requires minimal sun or no sun at all. Some plants don't enjoy the sun. A lot of my tropical plants just add oxygen and amazing air and refresh the air for my inside of my house. And so that's why I have indoor tropical plants. Also, I miss having tropical plants being from a tropical place. Once again, I hope this helped on your container planting. Don't feel shy to leave a comment. Your comment, likes, and subscriptions are greatly appreciated. Don't feel shy to ask for seeds or for any produce or for any help if you have any kind of plant or anything that's outside of my share that you are not sure if it can grow in a container or if you could grow it indoors or outdoors. Let me know, ask in the comments section, and I'll be glad to get back with you and answer your questions. I'm Spenta, and this here is my gardens, and here are some of my container plants. I hope you have a beautiful day. I wish you the best in gardening, whether it's container planting or gardening outdoors. I love nature, and a big shout out to my channel members for following me on my journey, my subscribers, and you, my friend, for joining me on my tour today of my container planting. Have a beautiful day and happy gardening. Until next time.